What's up, everybody? It's the 30s perspective. Whoop, 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 whoop. So, we're here today. It is episode 8. I am your girl, Charelle here. We have our host, B. Mike.
Hold on, man. Another great episode.
Yes. We got Allyse. Allyse, I'm so sorry. What is your last name again?
It's Hogan.
Hogan. I don't want to say it wrong. Allyse Hogan. In the building. Say hi to the people.
Hello to the people.
And we have another special guest tonight, which happens to actually be my uncle, believe it or not. Christian Munnerlin.
Watch your mouth. Put an uncle in front of that nigga. And don't be calling me Christian.
So, we have our other host, Elisha Terrell. Shout out to her. She's actually admitted right now. She must have heard her name. Hey, I just announced you, so you came in at the perfect time.
Hey, y'all.
Elisha.
Let's see if that magic works with Lauren.
What's good, Queen?
Elisha, this is my uncle, Kris.
What's up, Uncle Kris?
How you doing, sweetheart?
Good, how are you?
I'm not too bad, man. Just trying to get by for a young guy.
I hear that.
And I know you remember Allyse.
I sure do.
And so, last but not least, we want to shout out Los, a.k.a. Los. It didn't work for him, but I'm sure he'll be on a little later to give his perspective.
Sorry, y'all. I had to get my hair together. I took my braids out.
You all right?
I didn't want to come on looking ratchet.
You good, girl. Ponytail popping.
Girl.
Tonight's episode is about marriage.
Yeah.
We'll start off by sharing what each person's relationship status is, so the people will know what you are when you're.
Oh man, you put me out here.
Right. So I'm one of the single ones on the podcast. Never been married. That's my life. Who's next?
I'm married.
Who's married?
Me married.
I am single.
I was married.
I am engaged to be married. Next month.
Different levels.
Married next month. All right. So
I think I've been married for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I think so.
You don't remember?
Man, I just got that. If I got the date, you're good with me, right there, man. I see her every day.
At least you can
Been
remember.
together for how long?
Who, me and my wife? We met when we were sophomores in high school, and we was dating then. And then we dated for like a year or so. Then we lost contact, and we got back together when we was 21. Been together ever since, and we in our upper 30s now, with a daughter.
All right, so we'll get to the first set of questions. Since we have 2 special guests, we won't do an icebreaker. We'll just get right into it. Have you been married? Which we already talked about that. Have you been married? Do you want to be married? If you have not been married, why or why not? And does religion play a role in your current status? So I'll start. I want to be married because religion plays a role. And I want a partnership, life partnership. I want to start a family, and yeah, like I said, religion plays a role in that. That's it. That's me. Allyse?
I mean, I'm married.
Oh.
Religion really don't play a factor because I feel everybody has growth. You know what I'm saying? We might not have to be in the same denomination, but as long as we got a respect for a higher power, and and we respect each other's views and outpoints on that, then you know what I'm saying, that should be no big hang up. And what was the last one?
Why did you get married?
Because I loved her.
All right. Allyse.
I don't know if I want to get married. I kind of like just being by myself. I'm extremely picky, and I know that about myself, and I'm okay with that. But I'm an advocate for people who want to get married. Like, if that's what you want to do, I think it's beautiful, and I will support you. It's just not something that's on the table for me at this moment in time, and I can't really see it for me in the very near or close future. If anything, I would really just prefer like a life partner or like a life companion, someone who I just know is there and I'm there and we support each other. But yeah, religion doesn't really play a part in that in any kind of way. So yeah.
So Elisha, we clearly know you want to be married.
Well, there was a point in time that I did not want to be married.
Okay.
He kind of stumbled upon me. And then it was more or less wanting to get married after I had my daughter. I kind of figured, like, I was like, well, we're going to be doing this. We might as well reap all the benefits of it. Like, it has its pros and its cons. Religion used to play a big role in it. That's a story for another day. But religion used to play a big role in it. But then as I got older and I started coming into my own and kind of, forming my own relationship with religion, then my views on certain things have changed. But definitely I think a lot of it came in to play for me after I had my daughter, because it was one of those things where I kind of wanted to be stable, not so much for just, her, but for me as well. So, yes. But I'm happy about it. I'm not complaining. I'll take it. I'm happy. So.
Brandon, where do you stand? Do you want to be married again?
As of right now, I'm still in my healing phase. So I'm gonna say right now that that's not something that I'm thinking about. That's why why we're having this discussion, because I think that you don't necessarily have to be married for you to be happy with having that companionship or having being with someone for a lifetime. So that's why we're having this discussion.
Okay. Does religion play a role in you being married the first time?
No, that wasn't definitely. I didn't feel any religious pressure to do or not do that situation. In fact, the religious pressure that we did get was in the opposite direction. The church at the time was like, y'all shouldn't do this. But
that's a first. That's the first time.
Can I ask a question? I didn't mean not to cut you, Charelle. Not pertain to you, but to I forgot Queen's name.
It should be on the screen.
But I only got 4 people on my screen. I had to literally swipe it oop.
Elisha or Allyse?
Elisha. There you go. When you say a life partner, what does that mean?
Oh, you talking
to Allyse.
Allyse.
Oh
yeah.
To me, a life partner is just somebody who I have a just spiritual connection with, somebody who just sees me for who I am, who just gets me, and then the reverse, I get them and we connect and we're just there for each other. I don't think I need to be married in order to have that connection with anybody.
Well, yeah, that just sounds like a good friend. But we're
You're supposed to marry your best friend, so that works.
Boom.
Yeah, that sounds like a close friend. You know what I mean? Like a good roommate.
But
I
honestly,
mean, I guess
Yeah.
so, but at the same
That's-
time, I mean, after a while, I don't know, for the marriages that have been around and have been around me, that's what everybody looks like anyway, just roommates. Like, I don't know.
And that is a very good point. I mean, I won't knock you on that. That is a very, because I've known married people who stay in the same room but sleep in a different bed.
Yeah,
And to me,
like that's my parents.
that's like that. No, to me, that's like you got a rent partner. I think we should get rid of like a life relationship. Just call it a rent partner, a bill splitter.
But then, you know what? That's what
I mean, because
that's what's happening a lot now.
I personally don't see the point in marriage just in general. Like, it's not something that, the reason why I don't see the point in marriage for myself, I mean, like I said, I'm an advocate for people who want to be married. If you want to be married, I support you. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not something that I want for me. I mean, like, I know that I'm extremely selfish, and I know that I want maybe too much from a lot of people, and that's fine. But like, at the same time, I don't want that kind of commitment. Like, I'm okay if we're together, but if this person leaves or whatever, then what am I supposed to do? Like, have my life end? Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, I have to keep going. So I don't see why putting a contract on it is necessary when I could just keep going on with my life if you decide to leave or if I decide to leave.
Well, side note to that, without like sounding real, like, I don't know, was it Dr. Dre wifey, but I'm more or less like, you know, me and John have sat down and had this conversation because, like, with his job, because we're not married, like, if anything happens to him, even on the job, like, I don't get any of those benefits whatsoever, regardless of how long we've been together. But if something happens,
there are ways around that.
And we're married, then, you know, I don't have to find ways around it. All I know is that that's coming straight to me. And I told him, because he has a state job, it's like, remember, if you want to get remarried, your benefits come to your first wife. Just enough.
But see, you had me until that last comment. To that last comment you had.
I knew I was going to cause controversy on that one.
Yeah, the last comment killed me.
That's part of the whole issue with the whole thing.
The conversation today is about marriage, and we're going to do a whole separate one on divorce.
I mean, but yeah, if you're talking about marriage, though, you flat out got to be talking. I mean, yes, there is security in certain things that you want to go to somebody in marriage. But now, with the way the marriage is looked at now, it's a business contract. It ain't looked at how it was back in the day, because you think just how America changed. Yeah, but think about how America changed. You didn't even have to get a ring for your wife. It was a vow between you and God. That's all that mattered. You know what I'm saying? The cloth that wrapped around your head.
The beard ring,
and then
the diamond ring company started that trend.
And then boom, it just keeps going. Like my man said, B Mike, it just keeps raising. Now the ring company. Yeah. Now you got a girl talking about, if my ring ain't right, I ain't getting married. And I'm like, yo, what does that got to do with anything? You asking me to do more for what you can do for yourself.
How about this? Why should there be separation between church and state? Why does marriage require to have the contract with the state?
Because everybody got to get paid. Everybody got to get paid.
That's what it's about. The marriage,
even love costs money.
Or the first wife got the state benefits. No.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
Yo,
I mean, it shouldn't be like that, though.
You know, POA, executive of the estate, all that stuff should be whoever you choose it to be. It don't have to necessarily be default to a wife or based on marriage and all that stuff.
Not at all.
So
I think, honestly,
I was about to say, go ahead, Charelle. My fault.
When it comes to marriage, like, I think that a lot of that takes away from the marriage. Like, I think it takes away from, the actual meaning of love in a marriage, in a relationship with somebody, and going into, it, a business contract, yes, because it has to go through the state and everything. But I think that all these other things, like a ring, the marriage, how much you spend on a marriage, how much you do, all of that takes away from the marriage itself. Honestly, that's just my opinion.
So why do so many people get so upset about prenuptial agreements? They take the money part out of it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think any more people really marry for love. I think people marry for convenience.
And for security. For security as well.
Right, security.
She just put herself out there though, because she knows that the first wife gets the benefits. You know what I'm saying? So look, she walking into it like the first wife. But if it's about love, it should be like, man, I'll waive that shit. If it's about, yo, you take care of my son. I don't need to be on spousal support.
Right.
2, I don't need to be on child support if you're gonna take care of my kid. And then 3, I don't even need to know that law that says I get everything from you if you die. It's something bad. Like that. It sounds like people are doing a lot of research on the wrong shit.
But I think a lot of that came from back-in-the-day marriages where women were at home and they weren't working and they weren't making a living for themselves.
Because
so if something did happen,
like the benefits of today being married and the benefits of the in the past
yesteryear.
But yo, we're not 400 years in the past no more.
Yeah, before we
but
get
I think
because nowadays when we look at it, when a woman gets a divorce with a man, like Dr. Dre's about to go through it. What's the first thing they said in his headline? He doesn't have a prenup. That woman ain't never sat in them studios for 3 days straight making none of those classic albums. But she's going to be entitled to more than half of his money. And how is that fair? That kills marriages. That kills marriages right there. Because, because there ain't no doubt, if you've been with me for 25 to 24 years, and I'm a multi-100 million millionaire, when you walk away from it, no, I'm not going to put you back in the projects. You're going to be taken care of, but we don't got to put the law into it.
Okay, so you're segueing us into our next topic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or thank you.
Sounds like if you're really in love, you shouldn't get married.
There's a little bit of structure here, just because we'll be all over the place.
I thought we were just having a good convo. My fault.
We are, but I gotta set some structure.
Are you the moderator? I got you.
Yeah, because she's the one who's gotta edit this shit later. So yeah, she's trying to like.
and our episode, we got a whole episode we can do about divorce alone. I promise you, like we do. All right.
I ain't gonna be on that episode. I'm not divorced. No, don't plan on it.
You're right. All right. So then, since we already segued into it, primary reasons for not wanting to be married. Has the value of marriage diminished? Perspectives of men versus women when it comes when it comes to not wanting to be married.
Okay.
And do you know anyone in a healthy marriage?
You go first, Charelle.
I met Kris today.
I know a couple people in a healthy marriage. I know a couple people in a healthy marriage.
All my married friends are no longer married friends.
Understandable.
I always feel that because we only ever see what's on the surface level. So, like, we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. We don't know what's happening, like, in all the situations. Like, to the rest of the world, they could have the perfect marriage. But like, I don't know if y'all watch Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett. You find out a whole lot of extra stuff that you couldn't even believe actually happened between Will and Jada.
Well, hold on.
We gonna get into Will and
You
Jada.
brought up Jada Pinkett. Let's get past that example. Let's use another. Use Chrissy Teigen and John Legend or something.
We gonna go there.
Like
a conventional marriage.
All I'm saying is that, like, in general, like, so real people who we know on a regular basis and not celebrities, fine. There's still a lot of people who, like, even in just regular relationships, not even just marriages, they go about their marriage as if, their relationship as if everything is okay, but then you find out later on down the line he was abusing her, or she was manipulative or whatever. And these are things that, like, don't really get looked at or discussed. So it's like, I don't know if there is such a thing as a perfect marriage. I think that a marriage is always something that needs to be worked on from my understanding of it. And it has to build and evolve because people build and evolve. But yeah, I mean, as I already kind of touched on, like, whether or not, like, my views on whether or not I want to get married or anything like that. But there were some other questions there that I'm sorry I forgot what the rest of them were.
It's okay. I know both. I know unhealthy marriages and I've seen healthy marriages. The other question was the benefits. The reasons for people not wanting to be married. And so when we discussed, like, the reasons why people would not want to be married, we need to look at both men and both women, both. So, like, I see that a lot of men don't want to be married because the value to me has diminished. There are a lot more options, and people mention women and having gone to work as being one of the reasons that the value of marriage has diminished, and I agree with that to a certain extent, because
Charelle, what do you think that the value was to men in yesteryear for marriage?
So for men,
it was a contract. I know you said that it wasn't, but it was. I mean, the whole point of a man marrying a woman with money was to get her money, because if they got married, that money went to him if he didn't have any. That's why a lot of women at that time didn't get married and became spinsters, because they didn't want to lose what money their family gave them or whatever. Then you have kingdoms who would get married in order to, make sure that their kingdoms were friends or whatever.
They have concubines because they weren't in love.
And you might want to step in real quick.
But now it's also, it could be about status. Like, you have, like, the guy who has the money and he has the trophy wife because he has a particular look, but he cheats on her. Now, we could go the other direction for women, where it's security and it is, the fear of not having to be alone in some cases, to have a handle
let's
on
be with that one.
But yeah.
Okay, you had me until you said women not wanting to be alone, because there's a lot of women who go out and are just as predatory as some men are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm not saying that that's not happening. I'm just saying, in regards to the question of reasons why women would want to get married, one of them could be because they don't want to be alone.
We want to know reasons why they wouldn't at this point.
Wouldn't get married.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
They wouldn't get married. Most of the time, what people don't get married for is because thou know thyself. And then plus they might not be ready for it. You ain't not met nobody that you felt that commitment that you want to go to. And who knows what that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody sits there and has the LeBron James type of life where, I just think of his example because he's been with his wife since high school. And I basically have too, but we had a break where we were able to do all type of shit too. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, by the time we came to each other, we were just like, man, all this other shit's kind of goofy. Like, I
think that time and knowing yourself is very important.
Yeah, like, you got to know thyself. You know what I mean? Like, right now, it might not be the time for you to do it. You know what I'm saying?
People aren't married because they're bitter. And they can't hold on to a relationship because of all the past toxicity that they've had. They're being consumed by that. So they ruin every relationship.
And the ping pong off your comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sweetheart.
I just know some women who aren't married and decided not to get married because they they feel that what they had, like they're the opposite of what we consider what a man would be, and they just want to play the field. They want their life, and they have it. They make enough money to support themselves. They don't feel like they need no man to do anything for them, but give them that extra, like, cuddle at night, sex whenever. So I know some women who were just like, what's the point of getting married when if I want to go out and have a drink with somebody and bring him home with me, then that's what I want to do. Why can't I have that life too?
How about
Do you?
In addition to what
you mind if I go
saying,
real
Elisha,
fast?
like some women don't want to be, like you said, some women view marriage as traditional.
Mm-hmm.
And if they view marriage as traditional, and they might not feel like they stand up to those expectations, like say she can't cook, or say she can't, she
I
can't.
don't think that could be a prerequisite.
I don't believe that's
No,
true.
I'm talking about there are some women, y'all missing what I just said. There are some women
I get what you're saying.
who view marriage as a traditional, because that's all they've
Right.
seen. And then there are
Okay. I
those
see what
women,
you're saying. I'm sorry.
yeah, those women might not want to be married because they don't feel like they add up to what
They
their
meet
mom,
the standard
what
of
their
what.
grandma, they don't meet that standard of what they've seen a marriage
Right.
be. So they're
I see
like,
what
well,
you
I'm really not that girl, so maybe I don't want to be married because I'm not her.
Right.
But how about some women just were raised by bitter moms and that's all they know?
Yeah.
That too. Oh yes.
They're just raised by bitter women their whole entire life. They got a whole family full of fucking single women with a whole bunch of kids. Ain't nobody ever wanted to stay with you.
A couple people's names are ran through my mind.
how about that one? And sometimes it's really simple. You know what I'm saying? Hurt people. You know what I'm saying?
Now with men, I think with some men, all the options.
Some fathers push that agenda too.
True indeed. But men are actually out here, and if you actually peep a man's movements, he'll let you know that he's out here trying to devour, not conquer. Which I mean, he's out here trying to eat a bunch of shit. He ain't trying to just conquer territory and live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you got the women with generational bitterness that just breed that.
But I also met men who, Charelle, also meet that same standard of being a traditional man and what society feels that they should be in providing for their families, or, having that A+ job that, they can't provide for their family. So they may not want to marry because it's like, I can't provide for my family as I should. And I don't really want my wife or, me to really work off those things. So, I want better for my family, but I'm still having kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, I know men, like, I have a friend of mine who, that was his thing. He was like, I got to get me together before I can even be in a, have a family in a family setting. Like,
how many of your best friends have you never struggled with? That's a simple question. How many of your best friends have you never struggled with?
One.
Because if I'm gonna call you, and I'm talking about even when you were young and you're just doing dumb stuff, like y'all done had $3 to your name and y'all go to McDonald's, get 2 chicken sandwiches, share the fry. You know what I'm saying? And we sleeping in the car tonight. You know what I'm saying? Just like a real friend, a relationship. You gotta go through the struggle.
I got one.
You gotta go through the struggle because anything else is frivolous. I don't need you around me when I'm up, because that's what everybody's around me.
That means you don't have to get married to have that life partner to do all the marriage type of stuff with.
Now, I married my wife because we went through the struggle, and we struggled together, and we're constantly building it up.
But did you have to get married to go through the struggle together?
No, I got married.
I go together, but there's certain things you won't.
I got married because she was willing to go through the struggle with me.
I got lifetime homies, but can we do these bills together? Like,
that's part of the struggle.
That's part of the struggle.
Pay bills without being married.
Do these bills if we not married? it just is what it is. Like if we homies, yeah, we can go through we can share that fry, but this rent due, my nigga.
You can split.
You
can split rent without being married. You can split it without being married. You can co-sign for cars without being married. You can buy a house without being married. You can get matching burial plots without being married.
I'm not here to argue whether getting married is better or not. I mean, to each his own on that subject. To each his own on that subject. But if you're talking about something that you wake up in the morning and you got somebody there, and and if you in the right situation, when you wake up in there's somebody's there that that has your back. There's not a feeling like it. You know what I'm saying? And there's not too many people I have that relationship with.
Best friends, or are we just talking about people who could be potential partners? Because if we're just talking best friends, me and my best friend
that was it. That was an example. That was all.
Okay,
example.
gotcha.
Yeah,
that was all example.
So
but I'm talking about every relationship though.
So Elisha didn't answer, and you didn't answer. Do you guys know anybody with a healthy relationship?
I mean, what's define healthy?
Healthy marriage.
Define that. What does that mean?
Healthy can
what
be.
Does that mean?
Look, healthy can be.
The rich paid.
I would yell at. Yo, me and Corinne will argue about toilet paper today. Does that mean we unhealthy? That just means we just argued about some toilet paper. You know,
not under it.
I mean, it could be whatever. I don't know what society's view on healthiness. A healthy relationship is when you wake up in the morning and she loves me, I love her. I'm gonna trust her. She gonna trust me. We're going to make this money to motherfucking walk these dogs and represent Woo. You know what I'm saying? That's for the Mary J.
So then let's go with the 80-20 rule. Go with the 80-20 rule.
I'm not rich like Puffy. I don't know what that's like. That's basically me telling my wife that I can fuck other girls, but you get 80% of everything else. Like, I don't understand.
No, the 80-20 rule. No, the 80-20 rule.
He said it. I heard the Breakfast Club interview. He basically said, you're going to get mad at this 20 talking about me sleeping around, but you got 80% of your life is perfect. That's what he basically said.
All
and
right.
I'm like, yo, that's rich. That is rich nigga talk.
For regular people, the 80-20 rule is you're getting 80% of what you need from your relationship. I'm not even talking about Puffy, him fucking other people, whatever.
Or even Jill Scott in the movie. She said, "You got your 20."
Yeah, in general, you're getting 80% of what you need from your relationship. No one's gonna have 100%. If you got 80, then they consider that to be a healthy, happy relationship.
But what is the 80? I mean, what does the 80 consist of? The way it was described.
Whatever you need out of a relationship.
Because certain people think the 80 is looks.
So look, I heard that a relationship is like a thumbprint. Every new relationship is like
I like that.
So
I like where it's going.
It makes up, it's different for everyone. So in your relationship right now, what you get from your wife, my aunt, what you get from her is a certain level of qualities or whatever that you like and you enjoy. Brandon, what you got from your first marriage was a certain qualities that you like and enjoy. Elisha, what you get from it will be a certain. Then if you were to get into another one, it's gonna be it's like a thumbprint. It's gonna be totally different because you guys are different people or in different stages of your life. So that
right. We're not trying to define what that 80% is. It's just that you are getting 80%, whatever that is.
That's a movie term though, because if you really think about it. Certain dudes, 80% is a titty and a fat ass.
All right, if he's getting that, he's happy. He's happy. But he's getting his ass and titties.
That's not even 80% of nothing. Because
not for you, though. It's not. For you, it's not, though. For him.
But for every dude.
All he needs.
What are you talking about? My woman has big titties and a nice ass. But none of that matters.
All right, so for someone else, though, that might be enough. For you, that's not. And that's cool. But we're just saying, we're not trying to find what the 80 is.
Well, that's the difference. That's the difference is.
What you're talking about?
Brandon is saying we're not trying to define what the 80 is. What the 80 is. Kris is saying what is the 80. So everybody.
No matter what the 80 is.
Every 80. Every 80.
If you getting your 80.
So what would be, so Brandon, what would be your 80? Just give us a couple things that would be your 80.